There's a moment, silent, when the room is still, your body is still, but your mind, it's loud, restless, hollow. You thought it was lust, okay? And Carl Jung would say, that wasn't lust. That was emptiness wearing a seductive mask. We live in a culture obsessed with stimulation. But beneath the dopamine hits and fleeting highs lies something much darker, a spiritual ache, a hunger, not of the body, but of the soul. This script is not about condemning desire. Lust, in its pure form, is a force of life, powerful, primal, even sacred. But what happens when that lust is no longer about connection, but escape? When it becomes a drug to numb the truth that you are bored, disconnected, and slowly drifting away from your own center. Jung believed that modern man suffers not from too much desire, but from too little meaning. And when meaning disappears, we don't become celibate monks. No, we become addicts. Addicts to stimulation, to fantasies, to people we don't love, and screens we don't need. 'Cause it's easier to feel something, anything, than to feel the silence of our own emptiness. And this is not new. This tension between lust and longing, between body and spirit, has haunted humanity for centuries. It's not just about sex, it's about attention. So today, we will explore what Jung and other great minds were really pointing to when they said, and if you've ever found yourself chasing a high that left you feeling low, if you've ever confused intensity for intimacy, because this might not be a video about lust at all. Before we can understand how emptiness disguises itself as lust today, we have to go back, way back, because this is not a modern illness. It's a timeless human wound. In ancient Greece, the philosopher Plato told a curious story in his work, The Symposium. He described humans as once being whole two people fused into one. But the gods, threatened by their power, split them apart. Since then, we have been searching, not just for sex or touch, but for our missing piece. Lust, then, was never just about the body. It was about spiritual longing, hunger for wholeness. But fast forward through the ages, and something changes. In medieval Europe, desire becomes dangerous. The church painted lust as sin, fire sent by the devil to pull the soul into ruin. Passion was no longer seen as sacred longing, but temptation. Those who gave in were condemned, not understood. The body became a battlefield. You were taught to fight your urges, burn for them. Yet, even within these strict moral codes, the truth kept leaking out. Mystics and poets whispered what the institutions couldn't admit, that lust might actually be a cry for God, a misplaced longing for transcendence. Meister Eckhart, a German theologian of the 13th century, once wrote, "The soul must long for God in order to be truly alive. And when the soul forgets what it longs for, it finds substitutes." Carl Jung took this even further. He believed that when people lose a connection to the deeper self, the archetypal, eternal part of who they are, they start grasping for external symbols to fill the void. Jung called this psychic starvation. And one of the most common ways it shows up is through exaggerated sexual projection. We place enormous expectations onto others, not just to touch us, but to complete us. Not just to arouse us, but to awaken us. And when they inevitably fail, we feel abandoned, betrayed, hollow, because we weren't looking for them. The 20th century ushered in a kind of sexual revolution, fueled by technology, media, and industrial capitalism. We no longer had to repress our desires. We were told to maximize them. From magazine covers to music videos, from perfume ads to dating apps, lust was rebranded as empowerment. People began confusing visibility with intimacy and access with connection. And with it, our hunger for something deeper was buried under a mountain of simulation. As Jung might say, when we lose contact with the archetypal layers of desire, when we forget its sacred or mythic roots, We turn it into an addiction, something we consume rather than contemplate. And the more we feed it, the hungrier we become. Because what they wanted wasn't sex. We swipe for affection, scroll for attention, chase chemistry, but miss communion. Across centuries, cultures have warned about this inversion, when desire stops being about becoming whole and starts being about escaping the self. From the Bhagavad Gita to Freud, from Sufi love poetry to existentialist despair, they all echo the same thing, but mistaking lust for healing. That is where suffering begins. The real question is, cause when we finally understand that desire is a messenger, not a solution, and start listening to the soul. Modern psychology offers a powerful lens to understand this. The concept of emotional displacement. When we cannot face a feeling directly, be it loneliness, fear, inadequacy, or grief, we often project that energy elsewhere, and one of the most common places it lands is lust. Carl Jung never saw a divide between psychology and spirituality. To him, true transformation required ritual, an intentional, ongoing confrontation with the self. The human body, he believed, was not merely physical, but sacred, a temple where the unconscious often speaks first. Across cultures and centuries, mystics and sages echoed this view. Human longing was never just about the flesh, it was always spiritual. The Sufi poet Rumi captured this beautifully when he wrote, "Don't seek water, become thirsty." In other words, do not rush to fill your emptiness. Sit with it. Let it refine you. Let it teach you what truly matters. If you're spiritually inclined and feel that ache within, try engaging with practices that slow you down and help you listen. Lectio Divina, sacred reading, is one such path. Read mystical or spiritual texts slowly, line by line. Let a single phrase strike your heart. Pause, reflect, journal, pray. Another is walking meditation. Leave your headphones behind. Walk in silence, letting the rhythm of your steps bring you back to yourself. Okay? Then there's fasting, not just from food, but from overstimulation. Step away from social media, dating apps, and romantic content for a few days. See what rises to the surface. Meet the ache that was always there, waiting to be acknowledged. These rituals are not punishments. They are invitations, pathways that lead inward. Teach you that peace does not come from endlessly filling the void, but from understanding it. Much of our romantic craving isn't about lust at all. It's about longing for the emotional nurturing we never received. Jung often said, the heaviest burden a child carries is the unlived life of their parents. That unhealed inheritance seeps into our adult relationships, driving us to search for comfort in others. But healing begins when you learn to reparent yourself. Next time a wave of craving crashes over you, pause, close your eyes, imagine the younger version of yourself, the scared, abandoned, yearning child within. Then speak to them. I know you're scared. I know you feel unloved right now, but I am here. I'm not going anywhere. It may sound simple, even silly, but this practice can begin to rewire years of neglect. Because what you're truly craving is not another lover. What you're aching for is the moment someone finally stayed. Okay, you. Yes, you can be that someone. Lust becomes a trap when the rest of your life feels empty. Your friendships, your career, your creativity, your spiritual life are all barren. Then romantic and sexual intensity becomes your lifeline. That's when we start mistaking escape for connection. But you can change that. Start reclaiming your life, one sacred act at a time. Cultivate deep, honest friendships that hold up a mirror to who you are, not who you pretend to be. Start a creative ritual. Write, draw, build, dance. Let your inner world take form. Find purpose beyond romance. Volunteer, build, serve something greater, and return to soulful solitude. Not isolation, depth. This is what John called the process of individuation, becoming your full self, not a fragmented, half searching for completion. 'Cause when your life is rich with meaning, you stop using other people as medicine. And paradoxically, that's when love becomes real. Not desperate, not consuming, but whole. Whole meeting whole. So, what if this hunger you feel, that flutter in your stomach, that aching pull toward someone, what if that wasn't passion at all? What if it was a message, a flare sent up from your unconscious, crying out, come back to yourself? Jung believed that most suffering is not the result of evil or weakness, but of disconnection from the soul, from the self, from the archetypes and dreams buried deep within. And when we lose that connection, we turn outward in desperation. That is the quiet tragedy of our age. We mistake lust for love, pleasure for peace, intensity for intimacy. And it is not entirely our fault. I've been trained to believe this by media, movies, music, even trauma. We've been sold a myth that love must be a high-speed chase, a burning hunger, a dramatic rescue. If it's not dramatic, it must not be real. But Jung would tell you the opposite. He would say that the real journey is inward, into the caves of your psyche, into the disowned parts of your soul, into the dreams that whisper in the dark, because the thing you are chasing in others, you already are. The confidence you admire, it's buried within. The depth you crave, it's your own untapped wisdom. The love you seek, it's the love you haven't yet learned to give yourself. Healing doesn't mean killing desire. It means transforming it, understanding it, alchemizing it. Lust isn't the enemy. It's the beginning. It's the voice of unmet needs, of suppressed power, of the abandoned child inside pleading, please see me. Please choose me. Please come home. So come home. Build a life you don't need to escape from. It's one where relationships are not crutches, but co-creations. One where solitude is not exile, but sanctuary. One where your cravings don't devour you. They guide you. This is what individuation means. It's not perfection, but integration. It's the day you stop searching for someone to save you. It's the day your real life begins. Throughout time, ancient texts and mystical traditions have whispered the same truth. Sufis said the beloved you long for is already within. The Bhagavad Gita warned that unchecked desire leads to delusion, and only self-mastery brings peace. The Gospel of Thomas proclaimed, if you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. And Jung, in his own language of symbols and shadows, echoed them all. He believed the human soul is not broken, just buried beneath years of pretending, performing, projecting. It still waits, And when you finally stop chasing stimulation, when you stop mistaking intensity for truth, when you meet your own hunger with compassion instead of shame, something shifts. Real love, not the blazing kind that fades with the night, but the steady kind, the kind that stays, that holds. Not because someone else made you feel worthy, but because you remembered you already were. If any of this resonated with you, if something in your soul stirred or cracked open even a little, then this space was created for you. Because here, we are not chasing trends, we are chasing truth. We peel back the layers of lust, love, loneliness, and longing, not to judge, but to understand. Not to shame the struggle, but to shed light on it. If you are someone who feels deeply, who's been told you're too much, too quiet, too sensitive, too intense, you are not alone. You are exactly who this space is for. On this channel, we explore what it means to live with depth, to reclaim your voice, to walk through life with open eyes, emotionally, spiritually, and soulfully. We draw from Carl Jung, ancient philosophy, modern psychology, and the raw, real textures of human experience. We talk about desire, emptiness, identity, healing, the things that actually matter but rarely get said out loud. So if you're tired of noise, of shallow answers to deep questions, then stay. Subscribe, not because you should, but because something inside you is ready for more depth, more alignment, more truth. This isn't just a channel, it's a journey into yourself, through time, toward something real. And you are invited, because the world doesn't need more perfection.